Okay, so this is the number 11 workshop. We're going to be focusing on portals a little bit in regards to how to enter them into the competition. There's a few different options, and of course keeping it open to the chat or the Discord to get some questions in for builds if you have any. So keep them all online and let's jump in. All right. So first up, we're going to focus on the portals, unless, of course, anyone has any questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm going to be keeping track of the general chat. So I'll put in any questions there. Or of course on the stream as well. So we've got that. So first up, let's focus on one of the portal spaces, so we can look at different ways to create that. So I think we've got a new one. Where did I create that? I think it was a workshop. Yeah, that'll do. Now this is the portal that I created in the build and chill on Friday, I think. So it's not great because it took an hour and a half, but it's a portal, so we can use that. How is everybody? Hey, Density VR, how's it going? Okay. Density, are you from the Mona crew or you from elsewhere? All right. So when it comes to submitting your portal for the competition, basically the main thing will be images, so that'll make it easier for the judges and the community to offer their opinion on that. We're also going to create an FBX, so that'll be pretty easy. So in this case, we have our portal prefab Stargate, or even just the portal FBX here. So I could import that. And also I'm going to create a package by making a prefab and then right mouse click and then export the package. So we're going to look at a few different options, but the minimum we want is basically an image. And either the package or the FBX. So we'll be looking at all of those options. Okay, cool. Well, welcome to the Monaverse. We look forward to seeing what you've got. Glad the stream's working well. I think I figured out that the VPN is the thing I have to worry about. So I'm glad that's figured out. Okay. So let's get a playground image, I guess, or just an image of our playground. Well, I'm gonna make mine using the playground. So I think I have a spawn point. Yep, should be fine. Right there. So that's not too hard at all. Beautiful. There we go. That's a bit dark, but it'll do. So I'm going to hide the UI by pressing U. I'm going to press F11 to make it go full screen. And I'm going to keep in the first person. Wait for the thing to go away. There we go. And press Alt, print screen. So it prints this one screen. Now, if I wanted to, I could do some others. So I could grab on the other side, but it's a bit dark. And I could easily fix that in Unity. But I'm going to use Photoshop. So of course you would set up your scene to be much better. And Control V. Yeah, there we go. Now that's a bit big, so I'm going to make that 1920. Oops, 1920 by 1080. Actually, I'm going to crop this to be more accurate to the object. So maybe that. And then change the size. Ah, too small. Okay. All right. New approach. There we go. All right. Cowbell. How do you spell cowbell? All right. So this is our, for example, image, and that would be fine. So I would export that. Might as well do a PNG. This is a tutorial. We'll put it in the workshop. And keep everything together. So it renders. Render, not one. Okay. Now if I wanted to, you could, for example, do that there. And possibly have slightly different cuts of your image, whatever represents your space the best, for example. I hate that now. So we could have the front view, back view, side view, things like that. I like that. So let's imagine that that is a better representation of our image. So that works. The next thing we need to do is I could grab the FBX. So that is add your right here, model. And this is it here. So this is mine. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to put that in here as well. So it's got the FBX. So that would be the minimum. So the FBX and the thing, but that doesn't include the materials. So you would need to grab the materials as well. So I've got the 3 here. If I recall, let's look at those. Right, interesting. So I'm going to get rid of, sorry, I'm not going to get rid of them. I'm going to use these 3. I think it is. Yep, that works. So copy those. Back to renders and put those there. And the final, which I would actually most recommend, is, say, I'm going to get rid of the prefab. So you don't see that. So that's gone. So we have our portal here. Actually, let's... Oh, no, you can't do that. Okay. Unpack. There we go. So we have the whole thing. So we have our unique portal name. So I'm going to keep that as unique portal name. Let's change it to portal _ start. No. Stargate. So that's that. Spawn point is green, 20 centimeters above. That's where I usually keep it. And the portal is in the assets file here. And then I will make this prefab by dragging this into prefabs. And then I will right mouse click, export package, and then it will include all of the things that are required for this package. So it includes the material, includes the FBX, the prefab itself, and the 3 materials, include any dependencies, and then go export. I want to put that in our object, so same place as everything else, and then go portal, Stargate, save. Right. So we have our Stargate there. So this would be basically the total file set to send in and submit to the presentation. So this would be the image, your image files for your textures, an FBX, and the Unity package. And that would be it. Any questions with that? Silence. I'll take that as a good sign. But yes, so that's all you would need for the submission for the Portal competition. Now, that's all I had planned for the workshop, so I am more than happy to take on any questions in regards to builds. Any issues, any questions, any categories that you're having difficulty with, you name it. No questions, that's it. All right. Well, that's it for the that's it for the stream today. I'm going home. Fine. I'll make my own. By the way, this is the new template. I'm going to be releasing it very soon. I'm just trying to get some beta testing to make sure that that works as well as I hope. But basically, this will kind of be it. So there'll be no portals in the final template. There'll be no artifacts, and there'll be one spawn point. And I think all the directional light will be there. And that will be a hint to get rid of the floor. So the tags are correct. So space, portals, portal layer, artifacts, artifact layer, and that's it. In that case, you could probably render... So a question was asked was, what if the portal has any particle systems? In that case, you'd pretty much have to get a video render instead of an image render, which is fine. And you would basically have to submit a package. So make it a prefab and export the package as an end result. And then submit that, and that should be fine. The portal challenge is a challenge in the announcements on the yeah. So if you check out the announcements channel on the Discord, the most recent post has some of the details in regards to that. So there is 1 week left. Well, what is it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So you have 4 days left to make a portal. There is a submission form. And yeah, basically it's make a portal. The requirements are less than 1,000 polygons, one texture, one 2048 texture. You can use different textures, but it's all like 2048 at most, preferably less, of course. And yeah, the submission requires an image, an FBX, and in the case of particles or Unity animation, for example, you would have to submit the package file itself. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, the 5 winners, I think, yeah, here we go. So the winners are basically purchased by Mona. So first prize is $1,000. We'll give you $1,000 to use the space and give it to the people to use as they see fit. Basically an open source sort of application of portals so people can use the portals in interesting ways. I have created some simple portals in the template, though. Yeah. No. I can't undo that either. Oh, well. Not great. So these are some examples of portals that will be coming with the template eventually. So yeah, you'll have a box, you'll like a door, you'll have the arch, and you'll have the ring as well. So lots to choose from. But yeah, so that's that. You're welcome. If you don't have any other questions, although please ask if you do, I can move on to some different categories that maybe might need some focus. So what are some weak areas that I see? I guess there's mesh colliders. Okay, I'll put it in the chat. You've got these choices. Do you want to see reactor? Do you want to see mesh colliders that are optimized? Do you want to see maybe PPV? So player property volumes, or animation in Unity, animation in Blender to Unity. Actually, that's an area. I haven't really done that yet. So let's do that. Okay, so let's do an animation with this simple box. Control A to reset the pivot to where it needs to be. Let's do... Now, you have the option to create all of your animations as one animation, split it up in Unity, or you could separate them into different animations. Let's join them, and then worry about the rest. So we need an idle. So I'm going to right mouse click, and then... usually, there we go, insert keyframe, and then I want to do location, rotation, and scale, and that will put a frame there. Let's go like a slow GZ to go up. Let's go up 4. We want to put this on, so every movement that I do is animated, and then down. Control C, Control V. So we have our animation there. To make this easier, let's make it easy to track. So that's not to 50. All right. So the next 50, let's do a rotation. So let's do... I don't know. Yeah. This is more an exploration in regards to what you're used to, and I'm sure your animation is going to be much more complicated than this. So we've got that. So we have our two animations. So say this could be an idle animation, and this could be a running animation, or you name it. But you get the idea. Now, I'm going to select this one thing, export FBX. Let's put this on. Well, let's make a new. Let's get rid of that one. Don't save. Extract here. Okay. And this is a model. And let's just call this box. Selected object. Export. And then we can open our scene here. Hey Steve, how's it going? Glad you could make it. Right. So we have our model here. And we've got different options here. So our rig is generic, we're going to keep that. And down here is where we start doing some of the magic. So we have 0 to 100 and 100 to 200. So let's get that to 1. Actually, let's keep that at 200. And apply. And let's do +1. So let's call this cube idle. And that'll be from 1 to 100. We want it to loop. And we want it to sort of repeat that last frame. Although we could turn that off in this case, but up to you. And then we have another one, which is cube, let's say action. And that is from 100 to 199. Loop time, apply. And then if we wanted to, we could actually do cube idle 0 to 1. Loop time. Apply. So we have our 3. Now you can see the animations down here. So that will loop and do that. This one should do the rotation, like so. And when you click on the box here, it actually has the animations that you could include into Animator or in whatever you like. So if we moved our box in here, like so, it doesn't have an animator just yet. So we can start, well, yeah, let's just animate. Animator. Actually, no. Let's go animation, create. But instead of the idle, I'm going to drag these in there. So let's get rid of that one over there. Idle. Idle 1, I didn't name that one. And action. So let's set that. Let's get rid of that one. And then if we wanted to, we could create a reactor to go to cube action. So let's say, let's make a Boolean. So let's action equals true. And then action equals false. And we can get rid of that one. And as you can see, you have our animation that we imported from Blender. So that's how you do animation. Now notice how these are read-only. Both of these are read-only, so you can't edit them. To make them read-only, basically all you need to do is select the ones you want to duplicate. So those two, Control D, and therefore you could create these instead. Nope. That one. Let's get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Same thing. So we'll get action true, action false, and notice how it doesn't have the read-only this time. So when you import animations, they are read-only. So if you want to make them read, so I can adjust them in here if I wanted to. I can do that in that tool there. So there you go. So that's how you do animation from Blender. And that applies pretty much to any 3D asset creation tool, so from Max or from Maya. I'm not too sure what Revit and Rhino's animation situations are. I'm assuming not much. It could be wrong. But yeah, right. Any of the standard game ready or cinematic 3D asset tools, you can do that sort of tool there. So that's the animation. So yeah, that's that done. Next. Well, let's set up a. Now note this is wrong. So if I go to QA, that will actually have an issue because that is outside of space. So if I close that, you'll have the box 01, which is incorrect. So I need to put that under the space, and then it'll be fine. So make sure that when you reduce or collapse all of your assets, that it will basically look like this: space, portals, and artifacts. Hey Felix, how's it going? Felix? Felix? The other thing is the position of the animation will be based on the object in Blender. So if you wanted to create a different location, you would put this object in a game object. Position, rotation, scale, all of these things are in relation to the parent. So if you're having trouble with rotation, feel free to make an empty game object, put your object in that, and then modify the one above it, and then you will have a much easier time with that. So this, for example, will be at 0, 0, 0, but then I can move this to there, and then I can animate those. There we go. If I say it in every possible version, then one of them has got to be correct. So notice how this is not 0, 0, 0, but if I animate it, it is actually moving correctly. But if I put it in the default, when I animate, it will go back to the original location because that's the 0, 0, 0 of the animation. So that is definitely one factor to consider when bringing animation into Unity. So there's that. Any other questions? Otherwise, I will do some Reactor. So our box has two animations. Oops. Stop that. And I've actually set up the parameter to set off. So let's create a reactor, and let's just call it trigger. Mono reactor, and we need a box collider as well. So let's modify that a bit. Let's say in front of it, about there. Let's make the box a bit bigger. All right, so that works. So when I enter this trigger, I want to set this parameter to true, and it will go to that. And then when I get out, I want to set it to false. So let's go back to that on enter trigger. Now the name is just my own, so that's just for my sake. So let's go set action. We want to set, now the object is whatever has the animator. So this has the animator, so that's what I want to drag in there. It will look for the parameter, which I call action. Case is also very important, so make sure that's there. We want to set the boolean to true. Notice how it's lowercase. And then on exit, I'm going to call it off action, set the same action. That's correct. Boolean to false. Now notice this is spelt incorrectly. That would be bad. So always check that your values are correct, because otherwise it won't work. Okay, so let's check one more time. So our empty game object has the Moan Erector and a box collider. On enter the box collider, which is there, we want to set the box animation parameter action to true. And when we move out of the box collider, we want to set the box animation action parameter boolean to false. I think that's correct. Any other issues? Nope. Let's give it a shot. V is the one we want to use. Okay. All right. So we have our idle animation. Very complex idle animation. We have our portal, and we have that, which is excellent. And as soon as I walk out, it will go back to our idle. Now notice there is a bit of a transition between the two, which is what I want. So I can adjust the animation if I wanted to very easily using the transition in Animator. So that's super useful. So that's down, and then it'll switch. So that works. But delete those just in case I build it again. But if I wanted to make that a bit longer, so I wanted the transition to take a bit of time, all I have to do is modify that, and then that will be the time involved there. So I save that because that is a masterpiece. All right, so that's Reactor. Sometimes this gizmo will not be correct. So if the parent is a different rotation or things like that, then yeah, there has been, it is very difficult to get the UI to work as you want them to. So I'm kind of tempted to see if we can take that out because it's more misleading than not. But yeah. Okay. So that's Reactor and animation from Blender. What else can we do today? Any requests from the chat? I'm going to keep putting it out there until someone asks a question. No? All silent? Now, sometimes you'll notice this. It comes up when, like, the process of building an animation. So, like, you'll have a trigger, but it doesn't have a name yet. So that does come up, but eventually you can just get rid of it. Note that if you do have console errors, yeah, so Skybox doesn't do that in Unity. The basic Skybox, you can't. Actually, let's check that. So moving sun and moon cycles is a whole thing that standard Unity pipeline doesn't have. I think the HDRP does, but we don't use that. But I'm going to check if we can rotate a skybox. So we need something simple. Now this is rotate. I think it's only left right. It's not up down. So there are limitations, but this is maybe the best you can do. You might be able to do it with shaders, but I'm not the shader guy. That's not an area that I'm technical with, as much as I would like to be, because shaders are cool. GIFs, no, but you can use Flipbook shader, and I do have one of those that I could release, get out there. That, well, let's have a look. I can show you one that I built previously. So I don't think animated GIFs are supported, but you can create texture with a flipbook animation, and I can share this shader. I've yet to do it, actually. I'm surprised I haven't. But I can share this shader to allow that to happen. So, where is it? This one. So I have two objects here. So a flipbook is basically, so if I click on this, so basically the image, can I? Yeah, so you can't really see it so big, but it's like 1 to 16, so you can make a grid, and then each, I can change the speed of it, I can change how many tiles, so it's 4x4, and brightness. So that one I can get to people if you want to create a flipbook animation that basically does that. I have another one which is an LED. It doesn't have to be an LED. I just used an LED texture on the front, so it looks like a cool. That template file is one we're going to be releasing very soon. Basically, it has all of the tools. It has guides on how to make a space. It has some of the reactor and animation and PPVs. Basically, I've been working on this for a little while. But yeah, so I'll be releasing the playground and the actual project, so you can actually open this and pull it apart and figure out how things work, such as doors. Well, let's have a look. No worries. I'm just waiting on some updates to Reactor. Actually, hang on. I think I have... Yeah, anyway. So, for example, we have the guide. So it has all of the artifacts. Images. We have some light mapping in there. Light probes, reflection probes, colliders, and how that works. We have PPVs. So we've got some interesting things like that. Yeah, there's a few things to pick up. My jumping castle, which is a lot of fun. So there's that, and there's some platforms in regards to like reactor. So as soon as you walk off, it'll go back. The blue one is just animation, and then you have door types. So this one is the one way, and it will close, and then you have the two way. So if I go out, it'll go there, and if I go this way, it'll go. Hang on a second, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna get the latest link so you can play it with friends. Hang on. Okay. This one. I will put it in the general chat. Okay, so that is now available if you want to go check it out. That is not multiplayer. So if you want to make it multiplayer, use the Hangout link at the bottom. I thought I'd make it a playground, like just the preview. If you want to see your CEO, you don't want other people to be jumping in. So there's that. So that's it. So that's that, and yes, we will be releasing the project soon, so people can pull it apart and all that sort of stuff. So with that in mind, let's close that and go to see if we can. But yeah, so as it's in the general chat link channel on Discord now. To play with it anyway, not the project, but you can definitely play around with it and see what is in there now if you wanted it. So have at it. Let's take this one. So we want a 4K. We'll download this. Save as. Let's put this. Where was it? In the desktop. So this one here, assets, and we'll make it a texture. EXR. Cool. Okay, so if we want a skybox, it'll take a moment to load in. So we need to go texture type. Hang on. Nope, not that one. Texture type, texture shape, cube. Everything else is fine. So I'll go apply. Then we need a material. So let's create a material. Make a standard, I think skybox, cube map. Yep. Drag that there. We have that. Keep everything the same. And as you can see, you can notice the rotation is that way. So we can't change it otherwise, but we'll see if we can animate that. And then once we have that done, we can just drag and drop like so. Now let's do an animation on, let's do a new animation. So let's go skybox animation, create. We can override that. Turn that on. And then how do we do it? That one. I think we can just, okay, hang on. How do we do it? Where was it? Okay. So we need to make skybox. Yeah, there we go. That, and I'm not sure. Yeah, so that's not animated. So because that's not on an object, we can't animate it, but it does animate on the whole thing. So let's try something. Let's make cube. Let's drag that. Yeah, because it's a skybox, we can't put it on there. So, to my knowledge, no, you cannot animate the rotation of a skybox, to my knowledge. Well, what do we got? Bounces, halo strength. Yeah, so to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, to my knowledge, you can't animate that in standard, the standard render pipeline with the basic skybox. There may be other ways to do it. There may be assets that could do it, but once again, you have to make sure that they are WebGL supported. The mintable process doesn't break some of the things, so yeah, if there's scripts, it won't work. So for now, maybe it's not possible to do that. That said, some people have done it with other assets. So in my Hex gallery space, so this is a long time ago. That's a 2020. Okay. Nope. Cancel that. Nope. I did have, and this is before they did skyboxes, but I basically had an inverted sphere that I made super big, and then I could rotate that as I wanted to. Yeah, what do you mean by light emitter? Okay, this one works. So in this space, I built, this is before they supported skyboxes, so this is, I kind of had to, but it worked in my favor because I wanted to animate it. I think I put an unlit, I think I made it unlit shader. A sun, there's many ways to do the sun as well. So the thing is, like, you would have to, like, do you want the sun to have its own light source, and is that real time? There's a lot of aspects to that. But say, for example, in this case, I have basically that blue is, where's the clipping? This one. There we go. So there you go. So basically I had a sky sphere. This is a standard, but I could have made it unlit, so I didn't have to worry about that sort of stuff. So no worries. So in this case, for example, I do have a sun, which is this object, which has its own shader, which luckily was compatible with the Mona process. I actually used it for this as well. So in my case, I created a sky sphere, animated that, made a sun that was a child of the sky sphere, and then had a direction light on top of that. So when it animated, basically everything went around. So it looked like the O'Neill sphere was turning, but in fact the whole thing was, including the Earth and all the rest of it. So there are many ways to do a sun if you wanted to go with that. But yeah, it's not an inbuilt system, is basically the way that I think the question that you're looking at is. So hopefully that helps. Yeah. A lot of game development, like from start to finish, is kind of a hack. So, depending on the engine that you're using and the resources that you need and all the rest of it. So there's definitely pros and cons to every aspect. But yeah, in this case, I had the sky sphere, which was an object, the sky sphere itself. Earth, which had its own rotation, the direct light, and the sun, and then the sun object. And I think each thing had its own animation in a way as well. So it is possible. Just depends on what you want to do. So that's that one. So yeah, but now we have a nice HDRI for our space, I guess. So there's that. Alright, that didn't work as well as I'd hoped, but oh well. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Other than that, what else is there? So we've done a reactor, we've done animation from Blender, we've done the portal, submissions. What else is there? Like a 2-hour stream is not nearly enough to show all the things. I can show you what I'm working on now. The current space that I'm nearly finished. Where is it? This one. This one is waiting on video once that functionality gets added. Also, and this will probably be a bit further, so this probably won't get released anytime soon, but I'm hoping to have it so avatars can sit down on the seats. So we have all of our spaces. Let's get rid of that. And we have our cinema, basically. So let's show this one. Now, each of these seats have a reactor, just because, I don't know, I felt like it. All of them except this one, because he's there. That's basically it. Cinema doesn't have much stuff. I spent tons of time on... You can kind of see it. I spent tons of time on these speakers to have this like really cool speaker, but you can't even see them. And yeah, hopefully video will be in, and I've got my portal as well, so we'll add that eventually. But yeah, so this is ready to go, basically. So you go full screen. I haven't actually looked at what it looks like. There we go. That's the best seat, right? No, right here. There we go. If you've got this seat, you've got the best seat. This will be really cool in VR as well, so looking forward to that one. Yeah, this is basically finished because cinemas aren't really well known for complex environments. So that's that. And the other one I'm working on, this is a newer one, so let's save that, is the storefront. This is a more practical application. Like so far we've sort of been pushing like galleries and like NFT things, and eventually we'll have video, but I haven't seen much like practical applications of Mona, and we can definitely do that, especially with avatars. So let's build this one, I guess. Eventually this will have like t-shirts and maybe some like I don't know. We need a store. So I'm thinking of making a Mad Empire like merchandise page, like, and I don't know, maybe people will like it, I don't know. But the goal is basically to make a store. So you'll have clothes here, and some shoes or devices here. Have a cool animation video there. So basically it's a place where you can buy stuff. So all of these will be artifacts probably. So they can be updated eventually. And then have some cooler stuff like more collectible items up here. And can see everyone buying stuff down there. So this is more of a storefront that I foresee like Mona being used in a more practical way. Probably could even make it a mall. So sort of have a mall environment so I can go outside, walk around the mall, and then go into a different store. So yeah, lots of opportunities for practical applications of sales. So very early. Now this is very low polygon. This would probably work in a mobile VR, which is kind of half the point in a way. So yeah, that like designing for VR is a whole new bag. Most of the spaces that have been released now won't work in VR, at least standalone VR. So there is elements of optimization that needs to be considered when looking at standalone VR and mobile. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, Amona could be anything, basically. So if I like click on an object, I'll go to a different page. I could go to the an Amazon page if I wanted to, or I could go to a Redbubble, which is probably what I'll. If we don't find a partner that wants to use this space, I'll just sell T-shirts with my brands in it. If anything, just as an example. Although if anyone wants to buy something, feel free. So yeah, and once like I've sort of cool videos sort of there, or images at least to start, and then video eventually. So yeah, there's a lot of scope for what Mona could be. But we're definitely starting in the NFT like asset space, which is fine. But there's room for anyone and everyone. It's just a case of, yeah, do you want to make it? Or are you willing to pay someone to make it? So yeah, so somehow, and this is the thing, I have to make enough assets to fill all of those and these. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Yeah. The next space that I'll probably do is that we're looking at like an esports space. So that'll be pretty fun. It'll be really good with video. So yeah, like there's like there is nothing limiting any of the spaces. It's just a case of what do you want it for, and can you make it yourself, if not getting someone on it. So I think that's definitely a good approach to the potential of Mona, and just, yeah, making it do what you need it to. This one, not yet. It's not even remotely close to finished. It has nothing. But once it's done, yes, I will 100% make it available for others to use and learn from. Although this one I'll probably release as an NFT, because I'll want to, like, it'll be more of a, like, here's one we prepared, have, and, like, you do the same sort of thing. The other option is I kind of release, well, if we had editions, and I don't want to use the, like, making 10 or 20 or 100 users of these, but, like, say, for example, I could make an editions of stores, and people just make their own. So there's a lot of opportunities here. Well, no, it's a real space. It's a real thing. I sell stuff, man. I gotta make money. That's how it all works. But yes, so this will be a practical demo Well, it won't be a demo space because it'll be practical. So this will be a practical market space store. Once again, as soon as I sort of figure out what I want to sell here, or if we want to sell other stuff here. But yeah, you could definitely make it more of a store. I'm not a store designer. We kind of like getting an architect, like a store person would be good. This is just off the top of my head. But yeah, there's definitely better people. But you need to pave the way somehow. So yeah. So each of these things would be artifacts, and as noted, artifacts can be linked. So if I click on an artifact, it goes to, say, a Redbubble page with that asset. So that could definitely work. I could do these with these objects as well. So I could put things on top and just have like things that look like it's meant to be underneath. So yeah, there's lots of opportunities here. But I do need to make it a lot better, basically. So that's my first step. Well, that's the thing. So eventually, artifacts will be able to be changed. So if I made this MySpace and I didn't update my catalog, then that would be fine. But if and when we create the ability to swap out artifacts, I could then take out one asset and create a new one eventually. We don't have that yet, but there is definitely a plan to have it. So if I had, say, 6 t-shirts on this rack, and 2 of them were not selling very well, and I redesigned them, I could take those 2 out and then put 2 new ones in with links to different pages. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of these sort of things. You could have links to NFTs for your character and also real world assets as well. So I could have a cosmetics side and a real world side. Like the scale is kind of limitless, to be honest. The more I think about it, the more I need a better store. But early days yet. Maybe I'll get there. So yeah. So that's one space where, once again, it's less about the NFTs and more about like a practicality. And then, say for example, if I had this space in, like, maybe I could have it in, so I have my blog and I have some downloads, and then I have a 3D store where people could walk around and buy stuff rather than just link to the Redbubble. So cheers for popping in. Good luck. See you around the Discord, no doubt. So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. Lots of options. So yeah, so I'm thinking, instead of making it a space like this, I might make it a mall instead. So this is like an all, and there's another store over there, and then you could go to the mall and other store easily enough. So lots of options there. So yeah. Any other questions, statements, things to say? I am here to help if you need it. Otherwise, I might start getting on to... Well, I'll keep working on this space, I guess. I don't know if blue and red is a good color. Like, I don't know. Let's look at best stores. See, it's better than that. So, I don't feel so bad about it. But you want, like, the best, right? So, those are horrible places. How about this one? Nope, not very interesting. Depends. Like, if what would you say? So the amount of information in each space is dependent on one, how much stuff is in it, and two, what you want it to run on. So if you want your space to be run on a standalone VR, then your entire space has to be less than 100k polygons, and optimized materials and all that sort of stuff, like crazy low. Now, if you were just going on like a gaming laptop or gaming desktop, then you could aim a lot higher. So there's a lot of factors that come into play with what do you build your space for, and do you expect people on a low-end laptop to use your space, or mobile as well. So if you want your space to work on mobile, then yeah, that also falls under like the 100k polygons, and most spaces so far are not under that by any means at all. So there's it depends on what you want it for. If you're going for a desktop experience, so let's say you're not doing it on mobile and you're not doing it on standalone VR, then you could create one space with, well, it really depends on the space and how much detail you have. So my space, like this space, where is it? Yeah. This space is very basic. Like, we have like this object, and this object is like all of the sixes is one object. So that is saving a lot of space. These are all the same objects. So this space is super optimized, and would work pretty well in probably a mobile situation. All of the light maps, all of the lighting is light mapped. There's no, I think there's one directional light, which is real time. But as I said, I don't really like the lighting, so I have to figure that out. But this would work as is in any experience. Yes. So the lower the system, e.g. mobile and standalone VR, is very optimized, very simple. If you ever play a Quest game, there's a reason they don't use normal maps. There's a reason they don't have real-time lighting. There's a reason they don't do all of those sort of things, because it can't handle it. Also, with VR, you need 90 frames a second, like minimum, for a good experience. Otherwise, people get sick. So, yeah, VR is a different ball game. If you're just building for desktop, so VR on a browser, no, sorry. If you're building for a browser on a desktop, then you can aim a bit higher, and just sort of create that target device, and then you can do sort of high-end stuff to do whatever you want. So it depends on what your target is, really. But yeah. Desktop VR is a bit different. So, like, if you're using AirLink on the Quest 2, so your PC can take most of the hard work, that will be a bit better as well. So yeah, I personally visualize 6 different levels. So you have basically a gaming desktop. Yeah, 90 frames a second for VR, minimum. 80 getting by, but that's still, like, some people will be more susceptible to that. For example, I didn't buy the Quest 1. I love VR, but I didn't buy the Quest 1 because I think it was 75 hertz maximum, and that was too low for me. That said, the Quest 2 is 90 frames and sometimes 120, but not many games can actually push 120 on that device. So really depends on what your target is. But you said projection room for presentation purposes. So that depends. Like, are you doing video with, like, canvases? Are you... Well, it has to be video. If you're doing slides and stuff like that, then I'm assuming a video would be the approach. So that doesn't include it in the file, so that's a streaming thing. So, yeah. There's different approaches to different things, depending on what you want. So hopefully that helps. Does that answer the question? Well, it depends on the whole experience, right? So if you want each space to be running faster, then yes, you could do that. So, say for example, you have a main area which is open and people can chat and have discussions, but if you wanted to, you could have a portal that goes to a presentation room. You could have another portal that goes to like a meeting room. You could definitely treat them as separate spaces. If they're all small enough, like lower, like optimized enough, then you could have them all in one space. So it really depends on the lighting and the experience that you want in each one. Do you want it to be like really high quality and look really good? And then you could create portals that go between each one. Or you could possibly have the lobby and one presentation space in the same area. There's different ways there's different ways to do it. So yeah, depends on the design of the space. But as you know, like loading a space doesn't take that long. Well, depending on your internet connection, of course. So as long as you're not in Australia, loading a space does not take very long. So if you have a portal to a different area, and the smaller it is, so if it's a 30 meg space that's really high quality, then that would be a really quick load. So yes, you could definitely do that if you wanted to. There is nothing that would stop you. There definitely is, like, a lot of people are building spaces as one space, when a lot of them, especially ones with doors or categories that go to the next one, you could definitely create a portal to do that instead. Yeah. So pros and cons. To be honest, it would probably come down to a mix. So each separate room you could create as its own space and then make it really complex or more complex. And then you have the big main area, which is a bit more simple and maybe has some different areas for art or video that you want to show, things like that. We don't know. We don't have that tested yet. So that... well, we might know, but I don't. we don't have that asset open to the team yet. We're definitely working on it. So I can't answer that just yet. I hope not. I'm assuming it would be maybe a little bit more intense than, say, your basic streaming, so watching YouTube and Twitch, but you're doing that inside a 3D space. So I'm assuming, and so don't quote me on any of this because it could be very wrong, but I'm assuming it would be a slightly more heavier dose than those sort of things. But we'll see. Looking forward to it. It's going to be probably a game changer, actually. Should be really cool. We shall see, indeed. Hopefully not, because otherwise that would limit... Well, one, you would have to limit how many streams you would have, because, like, imagine streaming 3 YouTubes at once. Like, that would be too much. So ideally you would create your spaces that would like stream 1, maybe 2 at most, depending on the resolution, which would come back to creating a presentation space that has one and the meeting space that has another. So you would design your space with those in mind, and a lot of these things we sort of figure out as they come up. So what is the best way to house many canvases in one? So do I go to a new section that has more canvases? Things like that. So happy to help. Any other questions, feel free. Oh yeah, I was looking for cool stores. What's this one? That's a restaurant. Yeah, okay. Futuristic. Yeah. Okay, this is a bit more like it. They're always white though. There we go. That's that's it. That's the future of. I have nowhere to move on. I want questions. This is a workshop. Like, is this really what the future of shopping is? Surely this is better than this. Okay, that's just weird. Ah, sorry. Another question here. Would I browser-based streaming or find a way to use it? I'm not too sure. I get... Once again, I haven't used it and haven't talked to the team who are developing the streaming. I get the feeling that it's more about streaming. So it might be a case of just like showing a link to an OBS stream, like a Twitch stream or a YouTube stream. But I'm not sure. So I think the best answer is wait until. That's cool. I want that shoe. This shoe. Nope, don't like that one. Sorry, I got distracted with shiny shoes. It'd be best to wait until we actually have the content working, and then we can sort of focus on sort of what it can and cannot do. Yeah. See, that's okay. Maybe I could create... No. Yeah, this is... I had this idea before I even saw this happening, but I'm glad someone's coming up with it. This is not futuristic. Where's the future of shopping? I think this is the best we got. More of this, please. No. Yeah. Ooh, here we go. Nope. So is this where shopping is going? Is this our future? I don't know. I think I expected more. So this is nice. I don't mind that. Maybe we could do something like that. Mm-hmm. Not you. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you'd think the shopping would go somewhere cool. Blah. Like, this is alright. Nope. Pop-ups are a thing. That seems to be happening a lot. How about this one? Vending machine? Yeah, I don't know. I want a supermarket. I want the future. Where's the future? Yeah, this is kind of it, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, here we go. There we go. That's kind of cool. Right. Ha! Okay. This is a gym. Maybe we could turn that into... Oh, what's this one? Now we're talking. No, go back. Okay, here we go. I found the future. Finally. These aren't big enough. Okay. Mm-mm-mm. No, go back here. I haven't looked into Alembic. I'm not even sure. Like, this is how much I don't know about it. I haven't used them before, so I'm not sure how big animations can be. So I've mostly used Unity actually, and done my animations in there. So I'm not sure which the file size would be better, to be honest. So I can't help you with that answer. Sorry. Yeah, this one's pretty cool. Kind of boring at the same time, though. Like, yeah, I don't know. But it does make MySpace look pretty bad. So, not too sure. I do need to fix the lighting. Like, the spotlights thing doesn't work nearly as well as I'd like. So I'm thinking of getting, like, one spotlight over the whole thing rather than a bunch of spots. Because you get this whole sort of spotted thing. These don't look very good, so yeah. I think this whole thing I'm going to have to redesign. I kind of like I like this design, but I think, yeah, the lighting and the textures and all of that needs a fair bit of work. So we'll get there one day. This is not a bad website, actually. What? Store design. That's not... What? Ethereum Towers? See, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so this is a bit more kind of what I'm after. This is a good website. I'm going to steal this website. Add. Yeah, let's do Monut. No, let's do more. New folder. Reference. There. Cool. What is it? Ethereum Towers. Ah. Well, is that a real thing? Or is it a metaverse thing? Ah, nice though. Metaverse project, right? See, make them real. Do both. No. Megastructure. Okay, so it's a whole metaverse space. Maybe. Okay, that's kind of cool. Does look cool. Fair enough. Nah, I don't like this one. Next. Alright, have a good one. Thanks for coming. No, this isn't even a thing. No. Last one. Yeah. Interesting flaw. I want one of them. Give me one of them. I'm bringing you free advertising. Give me one of them. Oh, it's interesting. What's this one? This looks cool. Okay. Not really a store, is it? No. A lot of pictures. Oh. Yeah, I think the alien ones are good. This page is quite nice. So, yeah. Ooh, that's cool. Okay. Oh, where's that? Zaha Hadid. Okay. Okay. Right. Lots of curves. Very expensive. That's pretty cool, though. The fact that these are real places already is kind of crazy. That's kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. Like, where are these things? I want to go to there. They all look like they're in Singapore. Right. Other... Yeah. It's interesting. What? These are not stores. Go back to the stores. This one. The problem is, like, you get, like, caught. Like, as soon as you start clicking, then you've got this whole ecosystem that you have to worry about. It's like, alright. Okay. Well, I think I've got some ideas of, like, directions to go, but reference is very important. You could probably make it a more surreal experience as well. Like, I could probably push that sort of stuff. and see if I could go in that direction maybe. So yeah, lots of options. It's just a case of which option is best. Yeah, tricky. Oh, well, I'm gonna have to do some planning, I guess. I think everything for this space so far is like literally just like that would be cool, and just doing that. So once again, I like the basic sort of shape here, but yeah, the walls, everything else needs. I could probably do some with some work. So I'll figure it out at some point. So yeah. So, what's everyone working on? Are we all doing portals? Like, are you doing spaces? Like, what's everyone working on? That is a question. Like, that's like, how have, like, what is the last 20 years of your life, and what is the best way to learn all of that in the shortest way possible? What would I focus on most? Well, the thing is, like, building a space is two things. Magical voxel. I'm not sure what that... What's that? Voxel art editor. Interactive path tracing register. Path tracing? Okay. Okay. A city? You know, just a small thing like a city? Yeah, I'm not on QA anymore. I'm actually like sticking with the focus of tutorials and the docs and all that sort of stuff. So if there's anything that people would want that would help them be better at Unity, then now's the time to send it. But yeah, learning Unity, like there's two things involved with making a space. Part of it is the asset creation, especially being game ready. So yeah, that's what I mean. The city is huge. So making assets that are game ready in Blender or Maya or Max or whatever. And then the Unity side is creating the materials and prefabs and animations and Reactor and all that sort of stuff that creates a sort of more interesting experience. So there's like, to do a space by yourself, you need to cover quite a lot of bases. So it's definitely not an overnight thing. But yeah, it just depends on what you want to focus on. I would always focus on smaller things. Like, as you said, like what was it? A small gallery would be a really good project to sort of get the basics done, and then you can sort of start building bigger or building better or building more refined or optimized. Like, there's definitely different directions you can go in regards to creating a space. So yeah, but yeah, I think one area that isn't looked at enough, I think, in Monospaces is optimization. So how do you use less materials on an object? How do you create an object that has less polygons and things like that? Draw calls and polygons are probably the two biggest things to optimize. And mesh colliders, if you have to use them, using optimized objects there rather than like, but ideally you'd want to use box colliders if possible. So yeah, there's many categories, and many of them have been covered in the docs. So if we look at the docs, for example, so you got creating your spaces like portal artifacts, canvas, colliders. The colliders category has like this whole area now that looks into ways to optimize objects. Reactor. Then you've also got like skybox, light mapping, like reflection probes. These all these sort of things do help. But a lot of the optimization, like they're just techniques that you pick up. Like every object is a unique puzzle that needs to be looked at in a different way. So it's tricky. I come from characters actually, so environments are actually pretty new. But if you can retopologize or make a game character, then environments, not good environments, but environments are a little bit easier. But that said, like the art of a good designed environment is a whole art in itself. Like that, just that alone is its own category. So how do you lead the user to where you want them to be? How do you sort of move them around a space naturally? There's a lot of factors involved with creating assets that allow that sort of thing. So there's a lot to it. I might wrap up at 12:45, so you have about 10 minutes. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. While I get a drink, because I've been talking for too long. Don't mind me, I'm just writing an answer in the chat. Cool. Yeah. Any other notes? What would be your weakest character? What would be the thing that's the most difficult in creating a space at the moment? No one's answering? There's actually, what was it? There was a good example of a game ready asset. I think it was a forum or something. Where was it? This one. So I think this is a good example of a game ready asset. So you see the polygons are really low, but the quality is quite high. So you're taking a high polygon object, like high, and then creating a low polygon object and then baking the high onto the low. So that is an art form, and it can apply in environments as well, but because environments are usually much bigger, we don't usually use that as like design choice so often. What do you mean by layers? So supposedly the layers are supported, but I'm not too sure by how much. if you're designing a game, then yes, you 100% use layers. And this can help with lighting. So say, for example, you have real-time lighting only affects certain assets in the space. And that can be really useful for that sort of thing. So not too sure what you mean by rendering material. So do you mean materials? So these. So albedo, metallic, normal, all that sort of stuff. If you're still there. Right. So in that case, you'd be looking at things like so the diffuse, the metallic, the smoothness, and the normal map would be your main three. Right. Well, that depends on the model. But say, for example, out here, so I'm using just a very quick material to make some bricks. Right. So in that case, yeah. So games are very different, basically. So you wouldn't be using an animated GIF. You'd be using a flipbook texture, which I can release. I'll probably get on that tonight or tomorrow. But example, grass would be like a billboard texture, so it always faces the player. So yeah, games are a different category than say just Blender or Maya to create assets as you want. And Blender is even not Blender, Mona is even more of that. So because you're working in a browser with WebGL, you're designing in a very different way. So, like, water could be particles, water could be an animated texture, water could be different things. So, depending on what kind of water effect you want. So, basically, games and reality are very different beasts. It can be done, but you have to do them in very different ways. So, yeah, that's a very big question. But yes, I haven't looked into grass yet. And water I've definitely done with an animated texture. So that would be sort of grabbing an object and then animating this, or in my playground I actually have a shader that can move the texture in one direction, which is better because it uses a shader which uses the graphics card, which is much more optimized than, say, animating in Unity. So there's definitely ways to do it. It's just a case of using it the right way. Now, you said GIF texture. What is the purpose of the GIF texture? Like, what sort of things do you want to do with that? Right. Yeah, I haven't looked into billboards much. I want to, because they're cool and you can do some cool stuff. But yes, I do not know, actually. But if you looked at billboards in Unity, you might come up with different assets that might allow that. So, yeah, that's definitely one area that I would like to look into as well. So, yeah. But the thing is also, if it's an exterior material of a building, like, if you're making a city, well, this comes back to the city thing. A city is a very big project for a Mona space. Like, usually you would have one area and then, yeah, I'm not sure a city is a good goal for a Monospace because it's huge, and each building would have to be like a box with textures. So, like, do you have a screenshot for something like that? But yes, every object requires different approaches to create what you need to, but optimizing it for a monospace is definitely half the battle. Like, everyone thinks it's just a little thing you do at the end, but to be honest, if you want the best space to run on as many devices as possible, optimization is definitely up there with the things you need to look at. So yeah. But yeah, I might wrap it up there. I have to get up early tomorrow, so I will clear it there. If I do look into billboards, I will create a tutorial on that eventually because I think that'll be super useful. It depends on the city. So actually, for that sort of thing, that would be better with maybe random or no. Where is it? Share. Throw it in share and see what you've got. But like, if you're doing a city, like, you have to see the city. Like, it's a massive space. So, like, how you can make that run in Mono would be quite difficult, I think. But depends on the buildings and things like that. So there are ways to do it, and some people have done it, but they've been very good with shader technology and updating assets to work as a game asset. So it could definitely be done. It's just a case of, will it run well enough? So yeah, depends on the space. But yeah, throw it up on share in the chat, and I'll have a look at it there and see what we can say. But otherwise, we'll wrap it up there for now. Thanks everyone for coming. And I'll be running Build and Chill, Mono Office Hours, on Friday as well. So I'll usually be having the two events, one workshop and one Build and Chill, every week. So feel free to jump in anytime. Happy to help. Have a good one. Bye.